I'm gonna do a little tutorial on how to apply Seint makeup if you're only starting with the beginner palette. So 4 shades. You would have your foundation shade, or highlight as Seint calls it, the excuse me, the brightening shade, which would be kind of a concealer or something to just add brightness to your face. And then we'll do a contour and a blush. And then I'll add on top of that to show what I do on a normal day-to-day with a little bit more advanced skills with the cream makeup, okay? So I'm gonna start with something that would go with my skin tone. So it's a perfect match to my skin. This is going to be a full coverage look. You don't really need a whole lot, just to cover your fingertip. And I'm just going to put that all over my face. And mind you, I already have all of my skincare on. I have all my serums, my SPF, everything, eye cream. It's very important to have a good foundation for any makeup that you're using, to have a good canvas underneath your makeup application. Okay, so you could, I'll do one side where I just blend it layer by layer, and then this side I will do the like paint by numbers kind of style. So you could do that and then put it right here where a lot of women have kind of hormonal redness. Nope, that was the wrong color, but it doesn't really matter. So anything brightening down the center of the face and a little bit underneath your cheekbone. So those are the 2 foundation shades that would come in a beginner palette of 4. And then we'll take the contour. Here is the top of my cheekbone. Here's the bottom of my cheekbone. I'm gonna go right in the center. What I do is I kind of base it off of my hairline right here, and I start right at the beginning. It's kind of like a peninsula, if you see, and so I'll take it from the beginning of the peninsula and I go right to the end of my eye. I'll take the rest that's on my finger and go all the way around my hairline, and then on my jawline. And again, we're only doing half and half, and I'll show you how to blend everything. So right now I'm just gonna go with the basic nude. With color matching, it's really easy to just match people with the nude. Nude plum, it's kind of foolproof. It looks good on most skin tones. And I take the rest and I put it on my lip because it is a lip and cheek. All right, so I'm gonna start by blending the lightest color. There is this brush, which will give medium coverage, this brush, which gives the lightest coverage, and this brush, which does full coverage. So I'll show you that a little bit up close. This is a really condensed brush. They're not clean right now, but they are not my client brushes. They are my personal brushes. This has a very fluffy brush, so it's gonna spread out a little bit more iridescent. This will be opaque, iridescent, and right in between, because it is a little bit more dense than the fluffy brush, but not as dense as the full coverage brush. And I will write down the names for each of these brushes so that we all know. So I'll go with the medium coverage. It's right in the center. I like full coverage. Most people like medium coverage, and some people like light, so we're just gonna go right in the center. So this brush has this nice little pointed end. When it is very clean, which I should have done before this video, when it's really clean, it's a little bit more fluffy, so it's a little bit easier to navigate with precision, but it's just my makeup, so I'm not worried about it. I like to start with the lightest shades and I work softly. Like now when I do this, because I'm very comfortable with the makeup, I move really fast and I blend this stuff together super quickly. But just to show what it looks like up close also, how I just kind of put dots all over my face. It's not really precise. It just is placed in the area that it needs to be. All right, so we are blending that in. Be sure to have yourself or your client look up when you are under their eye, because when you're looking down, there's going to be naturally more movement, more wrinkles, if you will. So it will get stuck in there. You want to look up, you want it to be really smooth. You want eye cream and lotion, any type of cream on your face to give it that really nice silky canvas. All right, so that's under my eye. Looks great compared to this one. Okay, and then we just kind of move through the rest of the normal shades. It's easier to ignore this area with this more precise angled brush. You go around the eyebrow, up to the contour, not through the contour. Same with the eyelid, all right? And then now I can show you what it's like if you really buff away the contour. It can go away completely, but that's not what we want. We want there to be angles in your face. You want it to look like it's there. So underneath the chin, I kind of do want to buff it away a little bit. So I'm going to go a little bit more of stroke motions. And as you can tell, it's not there anymore. Okay, so then up here, we're just gonna stipple. You're gonna move it up into the hairline so that you don't have like crazy discoloration between your natural skin tone and this contour. Stipple it in, moving it upward. You don't want to bring it downward. It can kind of make a 5 o'clock shadow look, or just bring down your face, and that's not what we're trying to do, okay? So you can either leave it like this, which is very pretty, or you can step it up. I'm going to show you this side of the face before I return back to this one. All right, so this is just the normal skin shade where we're going to build everything on it, remember? So that would be my foundation, and then I'll go in with the under eye where you can still do the dotting effect or technique, because you don't want a whole bunch under your eye. Move that from the bottom of your cheekbone to the corner of your mouth, just to add more definition without having any contour on there. And then you can do sweepy motions. And this way, when I do it this way, I don't really use the angled brush. I do more of the fluffy side of the brush, because I don't have to worry about marrying those colors together, because we're just doing one layer by one layer. All right, so that's brightened. We take the contour, again, the peninsula of the hairline, right in the center of your cheekbone, and it's already kind of highlighted because we put that lighter color there. We're gonna do that to the end of my eye, take the rest, put it right here and on my chin, just like the other side. We can blend that together, sweepy motions, bring it downwards, and then we are going to pat upward. There are so many different ways to apply this makeup too. So whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever's easiest for you is really, it's foolproof. It all blends together super quickly. So here we're going to do dotting motions with the blush, the same nude that I have on the other side. I think technically it's actually plum, but they all are basically the same tone. It's just kind of a different shade level. All right. Those little hairs were in the way. And there you have it. Bring it over my nose maybe a little bit. And it is identical. They both look exactly the same. There is no real difference from side to side. And now we can jazz it up a little bit if you want to take it one step further. So again, that was the 4 beginner palette. There are pre-made ones that have just 4 in them, and then you can step it up. I think it goes 4, 8, 12, something like that. So I will step it up with a bronzer. I'm going to do a correcting tone, and I am going to set everything. So my bronzer is a little bit different in texture. I don't know if you can see that. So this is very dense. This is the contour. It's a little bit more of a cooler shade right here, because there are no red shadows in nature, right? You want something cooler. You want it to look like a shadow. You want to look chiseled, right? So that's why it's cooler. Bronzer, you want to add warmth to the face. You want to make it look like you were in the sun. You got some color too, right? So if you think about where the sun hits you, it's on the highest peaks of your face, right? So your cheek and a little bit on your forehead. You're not really bronzing anywhere here on your chin. You can do a little bit on your nose, but again, I would save that for blush more than bronzer, okay? So tiny bit goes a long way. I don't know if that's actually enough, but we are going to just do little dots. We'll start here, here. Oh yeah, that's way more than enough. And here and here. You want to go right above where your blush is because you still want that warmth from your blush. We're just enhancing it. I don't use bronzer every day. It's fun every once in a while. But most days I'm in a rush, and that's kind of the whole point of this makeup. So we're just warming up the face a little bit. The bronzer does come in a few shades. I think only 4, if I'm not mistaken. I have 2 of them. 2 of them are really fair, and I don't find them necessary. I know that makes me bad sales-wise, but they're really fair. So you can kind of mix and match some blushes and be able to kind of accomplish that same tonality, I believe. So that is the bronzer. And then we will add, what did we say? Set and highlight. So they call it illuminator. Highlight is the foundation. Illuminator is what you would normally in the makeup world call a highlight. I'm a big fan. I really like a good highlight. So I take this fluffier brush. It has a more dense other side. You can use that to really target under your eye as well, or get like the highlight into right under your eyebrows or right next to your eyes. Really detailed with this one. So I'm going to take Photoshop. It's a pink highlight. You can kind of see the glitter flecks on that. And I'm going to start in the center, kind of right under my eyebrow, and really, really lightly feather it up and then feather it through my eyebrow up to this little area where the sun would hit you, kind of like where you would look dewy or sweaty. But we want to look hydrated. We want to look young and youthful. A lot of people don't use blush too, and I feel like it's really important, especially when we age, to look like we have color and circulation, and it's very youthful to add that pink flush look. I do like to have something a little bit brighter, so I will go into this shade. It looks a little muted, but it's actually fairly pink, and I'm just gonna add a little bit extra to just the balls of my cheeks, because I do feel like this is kind of boring and I want to jazz it up a little bit. All right, so I'm just gonna add that on top, and again, you can add on top. It's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna make it all weird and cakey. The only time that it can get weird and cakey is when we set with the Vanilla Dust translucent powder and then you put product on top of that. You don't want to do that. But with the illuminators, this one is a powder illuminator. There are cream illuminators, which I have actually right here. Sorry, I'm blinding you. This is an illuminator right here, and I'll show you what that's like on my nose. I wonder if I should actually just do it on my wrist. So look at how pretty that is. So that actually is really pretty to put under your makeup too. It adds a really nice dewy finish. Makes your skin look really youthful and shiny. Very pretty. All right, so that is that for my cheeks. And I'm actually gonna add an eyeshadow today. So these 3 are cream eyeshadows. They do have powder eyeshadows as well that I have here. That is on a day where I have time, and you know, 99.9% of the time, I don't have time. So I am going to take this deeper shade. I haven't used it very often. This is, I believe, in Cinnamon. I can be more specific when I look it up. And that one is my go-to. I really love that. This one is a little bit more sheer. I will show you that on my wrist. They have a few other colors. They all are more shimmery, but they're so easy to use, especially if you are, you know, running around and you just need a quick eyeshadow look. So these are the brown shades. One is a little bit more warm than the other. So again, I'm gonna go into this darker shade and I'm just gonna use my finger and I'm gonna place it in the center of my eyelid. If you want to, you can use a brush. So I'm gonna do one side with a brush and one side with my finger, just to show you how versatile it really can be. And I don't have my eyeshadow brush with me. Oh yes, I do. I'm just full of eyes. All right, so I'm not using a mirror, I'm just using my camera. But really soft sweeping motions with the fluffy side, going back and forth like a windshield wiper. You kind of want to leave it more condensed in one area so that it doesn't look like you just put it on with your finger. And bring it up really softly. You don't want that depth of that eyeshadow, sorry, I hit the table, to go past that crease. You really want it to be uniform and blended, okay? So then this side, I'm just gonna use my finger. And really soft. You know, you can tell that I'm not like really dragging, especially on your eyelids. You don't want to put that tension on such delicate skin. Foolproof, right? It gives just a little bit of dimension, good enough to look like you have your stuff together. You can always add more powder if you want to. I don't normally do this, but for the video's sake, I will. I'm just windshield wipering in the crease with a lighter brown, just to kind of set it and give some definition. And for my liking, I took it up too high. So I'm gonna go back in with the detailed side of my brush and just frame out my eyebrow. Take from the bottom to the tip of my eyebrow. Again on this side, bottom to the tip of my eyebrow, and just clean that up. There you have it. Super simple eyeshadow look. And now we can set under the eyes. So you can use a perfector sponge, beauty blender, whatever. Every brand has these. This one is from Seint, but you don't need that. Or a powder puff, again, Amazon, super easy. Or you could do the fluffy side of your brush, which you can also put your blush and bronzer on with, whatever you want. So I'm going to take this out because I don't want to pick up any highlighter. Illuminator. It's really easy to take this top part of the makeup. When you get it delivered, it comes in a little tin. It's really easy to take that lid and use it to pop your guys out of your palette. All right, so this is the Vanilla Dust Translucent Powder. So I'm only setting right here and right under my eyes and maybe a little right here and on my chin, basically my T-zone, because I don't want to look super shiny, but I want to maintain that dewy look on the rest of my face. So I'm just going to very lightly pat. I guess I could just do one side of my face. I'm going to very lightly pat just to set this in and see how it's still not taking away that dewy look. It's just setting it in there so it's not smudging. And it is translucent, so you don't really have to worry about it affecting your eyeshadow. There you have it. You can see the difference between one side and the other. If you want to go a little bit farther and do more of a set, you can take a very damp are very lightly damp, moist beauty blender-ish. You're gonna start down here at your nose and work your way up. You don't want a whole bunch of condensed powder under your eyes with a cream foundation. And you want to make sure that everything is really patted in there. You don't want any of the creasing to, or any of the powder to stick in your little creasy areas. So again, like I said, when you're applying under your eyes, look up, pat it. Start at your nose, stay looking up, and just keep patting. You don't want to just do a quick pat. You want to go over it multiple times so that it sets correctly without putting your eyes down and creating that crease that no one wants. You don't want to look creepy. All right. No more powder is on my brush. I'm all set. And you can tell the difference between the coverage here and the coverage here. It just adds the perfect amount of opaqueness to the look. All right, so I'm going to take my puff from Amazon, and I'm going to show you what it's like just right here, and I will use a different powder that is not by Seint to set under my eyes as well. So I'm just going to take the powder puff right here, giving a whole bunch of versatility in this video so that you can tell that there are so many different ways to add to this makeup, so many ways to put it on, and it is super simple. I'm talking through it, and this video is 22 minutes long. That is not a good example. But in reality, I take about 3 minutes to do an entire face. Most days I am wearing a full face. I'm going to take my powder and I'm just going to lightly tap in on that powder. I start on my wrist and I get a lot of that extra off so that it looks a little bit more well spread. Again, start at the corner of my nose. I look up, and then once I've kind of gotten most of that powder off, I'm going to go into the corner of my eye. And look at that. You can use the powder that you have before switching over. You can always use a different powder. You can use the translucent. It doesn't really matter. You don't even have to set it if that's not what you're into. I am into that. The other thing that they offer is that soap brow look, which is a brow wax. So with the brow wax, you want to activate it. You're gonna get it a little bit wet. You can spray water on it, toner, setting spray, what have you, and you're gonna rub your brush in there. This little soapy area, okay? So this is what my brush looks like. It has a whole bunch of product on it, and I go the opposite direction of my eyebrows, just to cover the eyebrow, okay? And then I flick the eyebrow up. Again, soft motions. You don't want to be hard on your skin or your eyebrows. You don't really want to pick up any of the color of your foundation either onto your spoolie. And then you're going to lay your eyebrows. right, there we go. I am going to add a more glossy lip and cheek color on top of my nude. But you can also use it as blush if you wanted to. It is very light, but it has a little bit of shimmer to it, so it kind of is pretty when mixed with your illuminator. All right, so that is my face. All I have to do is add my mascara. I will show you a little bit more up close how that looks. And I feel pretty and I am ready to go for the day.